Chess is one of the oldest board games that we still play today. It was created in India around the year 500 and moved into Persia and the Middle East, after which, when the Muslim Empire moved into Spain and throughout Europe, it spread to Europe, just in time for the Middle Ages. Since then, the rules have changed very, very little. The shape of the pieces every now and then change a little bit, but not for some time. But chess is mainly a board game where you play with different types of pieces that move in different ways. And your goal is 1, to take as many of your opponent's pieces as you can, and 2, to take out the piece called the king. Everything else is kind of up to you. To start with, we're going to learn about the chess board and the different kinds of pieces and how they move across the board. The chessboard is made out of 64 squares, 8 rows of 8, and alternating colors, black and white. Each player has 16 pieces, black and white also, that fill up the first 2 rows. For more advanced players, each square actually has a name. Vertical columns are designated letters A through H, and horizontal rows are numbered 1 through 8. Each square is named after the intersection of its row and its column. Sometimes we'll call those spaces, just so each player knows exactly where each piece is moving every turn. There are 7 different kinds of pieces, but more than one of each kind of piece. There are 32 pieces total. Each player has 16. Each different piece has a unique way of moving across the board that none of the other pieces can replicate. If a player moves a piece onto the same square where their opponent has a different piece, that piece is knocked out of the game. That's the main mechanic, the main rule of the game of chess. The first kind of piece is called a pawn. Pawns are the most common. Each player has 8. They fill up row 7 and row 2, if you look at the little chart that I made. Pawns can only move straight forward down their column. Again, look at the arrows there. But if it's moving for the first time, it can move 2 spaces. A pawn can only knock out a piece, though, by moving diagonally. And it can only move diagonally if an opposing piece is 1 diagonal space away. That's like from moving space A2 to B3, where you can see that tiny little arrow I drew there. The next kind of pieces are called knights, or some people call them horses because of the way their piece looks. Knights are the strangest chess pieces. They can move 3 spaces at a time in the shape of an L, and they can jump over other pieces. And they're the only piece that can do that. I'm going to show you how they can move, though, because it sounds a little confusing. So, the knight moves, like I said, in an L shape, and it can't move partial moves. If you look at the little knight that's on the board there, each one of those green circles shows a space that that knight could potentially move. You can think of it like this. It can move only one of these ways. 1 up or down, and 2 left or right, or 2 up and down, and 1 left or right. And again, knights are the only pieces that can jump over or move through other pieces. All other pieces stop as soon as they hit another piece. The next pieces are called bishops, which move pretty simply. You can see there on that board where they start out, but from that, bishops can only move diagonally, so they have to stay on the same color square that they start off from. But they can go as far as they want up until they hit another piece, or until you decide you want to stop it. Rooks, or castles, are another pretty simple piece. Each player has 2 in the corners of the board. Some people call them castles because of how they look. But they can move in straight lines vertically or horizontally up until they hit another piece, as far as you want them to. The next piece is the queen. It's the strongest piece in the game. Each player only has 1, and it can move any direction as far as it wants up until it hits another piece. The queen is a little bit strange because each player places it in a different place. Instead of sitting mirrored flip-flop to one another, they sit directly across from each other. The white queen goes on a white square and the black queen goes on a black square. Just to give you a visual as to how powerful the queen is, each one of those green squares represents a different spot that queen in the middle there could move. If you count them up, that's 27 different moves. The king is the final and most important piece. Just like the queens, they sit mirrored or opposite to one another. The white king goes on a black space, and the black king goes on a white space. The king can move in any direction, and that includes backwards, but it can only move one space at a time. Unlike the other pieces, the king has a few special rules. So the point of a game of chess is to trap your opponent's king so that it can't move without being in danger. That's called putting it in check. If a king is in danger and it can't move to any other space without also being in danger, the game is over. You win. This is called checkmate. There's an infinite number of ways to get checkmate, which sounds pretty crazy, but it's true. It's all up to you to figure it out, though. Another important thing to note is that you cannot make any other moves if your king is in check. You have to either move it out of check or move another piece to protect it before you can make any other moves. And that's all of the pieces in a game of chess. They all have important jobs and they can all play different important roles in a game of chess. And any one of them can be the difference between winning and losing. Once you know how they move, the easiest way to learn is just to play and have fun doing it. You can play online, or most computers have a chess program that's free and comes already programmed in. Also, the library always keeps a chessboard, and we have a very nice one set up on display in the adult section. It's always free and open to play, and even comes with a rule book with different ideas and strategies for playing. We also always have a chessboard set out during Game On sessions on Tuesdays. And I'm sure someone, or maybe even me, would be happy to teach you a little bit more about chess. Once the library's back open, that is. But thanks for learning with me today, and I hope you know a little bit more about chess now, and I hope you give it a try. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.